Hi everyone, this is Amy from the Helms Academy, and today we're doing our Math Roundtable recap from September 3rd, 2020. So whether you missed the class in person or you just want to review what we covered online, let's get started. So we always start with the same thing, which is that we need to underline or highlight the important information in a problem. We need to determine which operations we need. Are we going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? And we need to write out the problem and then solve it. So these are our 4 steps to solving any word problem. So for our first word problem today, it says Peter was 60 inches tall on his 13th birthday. By the time he turned 15, his height had increased 15%. How tall was Peter when he turned 15? So we have 4 options there, and the first thing I'm going to do is just highlight the important information. So I know that he was 60 inches tall and that he grew because his height increased by 15%. And so in the end, I need to find out how many inches tall he is because it's asking me how tall in the form of inches, as we can see by all of the answers. So to find that out, the first thing I'm going to do is I need to find out what that 15% is equal to. So how I do that is I take my original amount, which is 60, and I multiply it by 15%, and that's going to tell me how much the increase was. Now, multiplying by 15% can be a little confusing, so I like to change over my percent to a decimal form. And how do I do that? Well, I just move the decimal place over twice. So you'll see here I have 60 times 0.15, or 15 hundredths. And when I multiply those together, I get 9. Now to get the final answer though, I need to add that 9, which is the increase, to the original, which is 60. And so that way I know that Peter was 69 inches tall when he turned 15. For word problem 2, it says sales increased by only 0.5% last month. If the sales from the previous month were $152,850, what were last month's sales? So we know that last month there was a 0.5% increase, and we're going to do a very similar thing to what we just did on the last slide. So we need to see the increases there and what the previous month amount was. That's my important information. And now to get that percent increase, I just need to multiply those together. So 152,850 times 0.5%. Now 0.5%, if we write that as a decimal, think about what 1% as a decimal would be 0.01. So to get half of that amount, we would need to do 0.005. So that's the decimal form of 0.5%. Don't let this confuse you. Some folks will see 0.5% and they'll say, oh, 50% is half. But we're not saying 50% here, we're saying much lower, just half of 1%. So if we multiply those together, we get 764 and 0.25, or 25 hundredths. And if we add that to our original, we know that last month's totals then would be 153,614 and 25 cents. For word problem 3, it says the sum of -4 and a number is equal to -48. What is the number? So we need to look at all of the keywords here because we have more than just the numbers that we're going to highlight. We also have some other math terms that will help us figure this out. So we have sum, -4, a number, equal, and -48. Now with all of these, I can put together a number sentence. So we see sum, and then we know that means addition. Sum is always addition. And so we're going to say, well, what are we adding? Well, we're adding -4, and then they say a number. So we can fill in that spot, a number, with a variable. So we're going to do -4 plus n. N stands in for the number that we don't know. It's our variable. Then it says that is equal to -48. So we can put an equal sign and a -48. Now, to solve this, now that I have it written out, all I have to do is get my variable on one side by itself and all the other numbers on the other side by themselves. So you'll see with the n over there, which I want to get by itself, right now I have a -4. So I need to do the opposite. I'm going to add 4 on both sides. That'll cancel out the -4 that's over by the n and leave the n by itself. And on the other side, -48 plus 4 is -44. And that's our final answer. For word problem 4, we have a very similar setup here. It says twice a number increased by 11 is equal to 32 less than 3 times the number. Find the number. So important words here, twice a number. Well, twice is going to mean times 2. A number is our variable, and we'll use n again here. And then it says increased by 11. So we're going to add 11. So that first part, we already see twice the number, so 2 times the variable n plus 11. And we know that's equal to 32 less than 3 times the number. So 32 less means we're going to subtract 32. But we can't subtract the 32 until we figure out what we're subtracting it from. So we need to start then with 3 times the number. So instead of twice the number, this is 3 times the number, and we're going to use the same variable n. So 3n, and we do minus 32. Now to get the variable by itself, I'm going to have to combine the like terms. So you see we have a 2n on one side and a 3n on the other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract that 2n from one side so I can get all my n's together on one side. So that will cancel out the 2n at the beginning and it'll leave the 11. And then I can say 11 equals n, because we did 3n minus 2n, so we only have 1n left, minus 32. Now I want, again, n to be by itself. So I am going to take that minus 32 and move it to the other side. So the opposite of minus 32 is plus 32, which I'll do to both sides of the equation. On the one side, it cancels out and it leaves n by itself. But on the other side, we'll do 11 plus 32, which is 43. So my final answer is 43. For word problem 5, it says Danielle needs to know the distance around a basketball court. Which geometry formula will she use? Now we have some formulas listed here, and anytime I see the word formula or see anything to do with geometry, it's a good idea to look at the formula sheet that's provided on the GED, HiSET, or TASC tests. Today we're going to look at part of the formula sheet as it's provided on the HiSET test, but just know that the 3 tests have a lot of similar information on their sheets. So we are looking for the distance around something, and that's going to mean perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around a shape. And the shape that we're talking about is a basketball court. So we know that the basketball court is in the shape of a rectangle. So if we look at our formula sheet, we can see a perimeter and circumference section. Again, this is from the HiSET formula sheet. And if I look there, I see rectangle, and it says perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So I'm going to look at my options over to the side and see, okay, perimeter equals, and they all start with that P equals. So we're off to a good start there. Now, which one is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width? That would be letter A, where you see 2L plus 2W. For our final word problem today, it says the scale on a map shows that 1 inch is equal to 14 miles. Shannon measured the distance on the map to be 17 inches. How far will she need to travel? Well, if we know that every 1 inch is 14 miles, then to get 2 inches, we would have to multiply it by 2, and to get 3 inches, we'd have to multiply those miles by 3, and to get 4 inches, we'd have to multiply those miles by 4. So to get 17 inches, we just need to multiply the 14 miles times 17. And that will tell us how far in miles we need to go, which is 238. Thank you so much for solving with me today. I hope you'll subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and at helmsacademy.org.